Hi everyone, it's Simon Keeling here at weatherweb.net on Tuesday the 7th of April. Thanks again for watching. Hope you've had a really good Easter weekend and Easter Monday. We were here on the west coast of Wales in fog for much of the day on the coast, but that fog only extended a few hundred metres inland unless it was in a river valley, in which case it was going up the river valleys about 2 miles inland. But amazing sight to see. But I know many of you just enjoyed sunshine throughout the day and some really warm temperatures as well. Wasn't it nice to see the start of spring? And the latest CFS really showing a month of two halves for April now. These are the temperature anomaly forecasts. Week 1, you see here at the top, going from the 6th to the 12th of April. Just notice there, look, through the British Isles, those redder colours, indicating temperatures getting above normal for the time of year, which of course is what we've started to experience now. And they look like they'll continue for a few days yet. Into week 2, look, staying with near normal to above normal temperatures as well. But then, as we go into weeks 3 and 4, CFS seeing a complete reversal. Look, temperatures going below normal for the time of year. That's what the green colours indicate, and staying that way through the end of the month. So what's happening? Well, this is week 1, and this shows us, look, above normal heights, centred towards the east of the UK during this week, but it's that trough in the Atlantic that's of interest. So with a high around, it indicates that conditions are drier than normal, they're warmer than normal, which of course is what we've just seen. Then, as we get into week 2, so we've still got the higher than normal heights look out towards the east. Those clearing away, but just look what's happened with this trough. It's getting closer in. We've got that south or southeasterly flow developing, which really does bring some potentially really warm temperatures across the country during next week. But these lower than normal heights associated with the trough moving in, bringing the more unsettled conditions, those spreading their way eastwards during the course of that week. And again, I maintain the 14th or the 15th is the day that we need to watch for a real breakdown, although it could be before that it actually starts to get the dry weather starts to get eaten away. And then into week 3, from the 20th to the 26th of April, look, the trough has come through. It's trying to get some sort of ridge built back into the Atlantic. But here's our trough, look, having moved its way eastwards, brought the more unsettled conditions and that fall in temperature as the winds change from the south or southeasterly into a north to a northwesterly. And things become much more unsettled with those periods of rain passing eastwards through the country. But with that ridge out towards the west, it's not a complete write-off, because the ridge will at times try and get itself in from the west, bringing some drier spells, particularly through western areas, but on this one, you'd say northern and eastern parts probably staying pretty unsettled. And then going into week 4, so this is week 4 from the 27th to the 3rd of May. Look, just as we expected, there's our centre of low heights. Look, there's the ridge built back into the Atlantic, or the Atlantic high out here. Here's our trough through the UK and into much of northern and western Europe, indicating much cooler and wetter conditions during the end of the month, going into the beginning of May. And I think the CFS actually has got a pretty good handle on things overall during the next month. And for really the coming summer as well, it looks as if it's reasonable in its suggestions. These are the early thoughts from the CFS for April, May and June. And this is the anomaly of the 700 millibar flow, and through those months, what you can see here, still the effect of the trough during this month across the northeastern parts of Canada. But you notice here, look, higher than normal heights in the Atlantic and higher than normal heights off towards the east of the UK. Now, what that does is it leaves the UK and Ireland and much of northwest Europe actually in between those two areas, and so we continue with rather mixed conditions through the months of April, May and June, and weekly positive anomalies indicating perhaps conditions drier than normal, and a trough here, look, down towards southwestern parts of Spain into the northwest of Africa. And what that hints at is that area is susceptible to getting some sort of low feature forming down here and picking up this kind of easterly flow through central parts of Europe, particularly with the risk of higher than normal heights off towards the east. We may well just pick up more of an east to east-south easterly flow, but at times this westerly getting in from the Atlantic. And as for June, July and August, well, remember, it's a long way away, and these forecasts do change day to day, but this is the mean of the general flow. And we've got higher than normal heights off towards the west, we've got higher than normal heights off towards the east. We're basically stuck in between two ridges, something like so. on the flow. And what that may do again, and you can see that highlighted here, look, in the heights, is that trough that's down across the west of Portugal, going down into the west of the Canaries. That may well try to get these cut-off features, as they have been over the last few days, into that sort of area. And I think what this is indicating to us is that we need to watch for these lows getting in here. We need to watch for the easterlies setting in at times, and it will bring us some dry, fine, warm conditions at times with those easterlies. But then what I think will happen is that the westerlies break through from time to time as well, and I think with those westerlies coming through, so we get a return to cooler conditions. So I suspect what we're going to be going through, and I've dealt with this in more detail with the spring and summer forecast for our private clients, is that I think we're going to be going into a rather mixed period of weather now going into the summer, and we're going to be seeing widely varying temperatures and widely varying rainfall. So there will be clear periods of dry weather and clear periods of wetter weather too. That's how it appears just at the moment. But as I always stress, and I say again and again, models change every single day. This is a long way off, so really this isn't a forecast. This is just some guidance based on what we're seeing at the moment from the models. You can't take it too literally, but the way I see these things is that it's better to have that information than not. It does value add to some extent. I hope you agree. Okay, well, I'll leave you with that for now. Don't forget, if you need a forecast for the next couple of days, check out Gary's Fast Forecast. But for now, whatever you're doing, have a great day. Thanks again for watching, and keep the sun shining. Bye for now.